beat up Alcantara, you may be thinking, man, I think I might have to replace my steering wheel because this is too far gone. That's not true. Today I'm going to show you how to take care of Alcantara steering wheels that are beat up, shiny, not plush anymore like they should be. Save yourself a few bucks. Stick around. So here I'm going to show you a deep clean. First we're going to start dampen microfiber cloth, wring it out the best you can. After you run it under a faucet, wring it out. This is dampened at this point. We're going to go ahead, gently squeeze here, move it back and forth a little bit. We're just trying to dampen the material. Something you don't want to do is oversaturate Alcantara because it's held on with an adhesive. This stitch here doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of there to hook it together because they had to wrap it around. It's actually held on with adhesive. So if you get it too wet, it will actually start to come apart and start to move around because the adhesive will have failed. So as you can see, the pile's starting to come back already just from dampening it, which is good. But I'm still going to treat this as if this is just beat down, hasn't been taken care of for years, because this steering wheel actually was. Whenever I first bought the car, I actually didn't realize it was an Alcantara steering wheel. It looked like a beaten up piece of leather. And I realized this is Alcantara, and it was just full of stuff. This is what the steering wheel looked like in June when I purchased the car. You can see there's no fiber sticking up. There's a sheen to it. You can even see some of the dingy brown to it. So this is the situation that I had to use this exact methods I'm showing you today of cleaning and sanding. But if this is really bad like it was when I first got it, this is a Colourlock brush here, company called Colourlock. Put a little bit of Alcantara cleaner right here on the edge. And be very gentle, real easy, real slow. You can kind of work it in very slightly. And if it's matted down, this will start breaking, this will really start to agitate the fibers and start breaking up that gunk that's in there. And you got to be easy on how stiff you are with this. Otherwise you can start getting the Alcantara it'll start to ball up, which I'm going to show you what you can do to alleviate that if that starts to happen, because if it's that bad, you're not going to be able to get away from it. So just trying to be real easy. That's enough. You don't want to do too much. It's better off to do a little bit at a time. Do a little bit of it, wait, we'll move on, rinse, and if it's real bad, do this multiple times. And it'll slowly start to break up if it's really bad. So we'll go ahead and let that set 5 minutes, and we'll come back. All right. We're back. It's been sitting about 5 minutes now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the towel that you guys see me use at the beginning that's dampened. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to extract all of the cleaner and the gunk that it has broke up back out. So it's just like a washer. Whenever you wash your clothes, you got a wash cycle and then you got a rinse cycle. So it drains all the liquid out with the detergent, and then it goes through a rinse cycle. This is basically what I call your rinse cycle. Just slowly working it back and forth, trying to get all spots nice and slow, no rush. Make sure you get behind everything. Flip it over. Use the other side, different area, different spot, because we're trying to get it all out. And if you want to do something that's kind of fun, I didn't do it when I did this, get yourself a light colored towel, white, yellow, neon orange. You actually might be able to see all the stuff it pulls out. This blue doesn't really show dirt that well. It just looks like the pile's rolled over on it. So now you can see, let me go ahead and put my headlamp up here. The fibers move now, see, as they should. All right. Now that we have rinsed that out with our damp towel, we did what I call a rinse cycle. You're gonna go ahead, I got a third microfiber here, and we're just gonna try to extract as much moisture out of it as we can. Try to get it to dry a little bit faster. Try to get it away from that adhesive that's holding it to the steering wheel. And I'm not squeezing real hard, just enough to apply pressure to try to get it to actually pull out. My microfiber's starting to dampen, and it started off dry, so we know we're pulling moisture out of it. It's definitely feeling drier, but you're still gonna have to wait overnight and let it fully dry out. Sometimes it isn't even dry. If you come back to it in the morning, sometimes it isn't even fully dry at that point. Make sure to get up underneath here the best you can. And now that you've done that, go ahead and rub back and forth a little bit. All right, I'll actually go ahead and let it dry, and we'll come back to this. It'll probably have to dry overnight. So we'll go ahead and let it dry overnight. I'll come back, and I'll probably be able to show you a little bit better how the sanding pad works. I'll definitely probably have a few fibers after it dries that'll cause an issue, so I would want to get those knocked down. But all right, it's the next day. Steering wheel's nice and dry, looks good. But I'm gonna go ahead, as I promised, I'm gonna show you that you can sand Alcantara. I don't really have a lot of high spots on here, but I do have a couple little balls I'd like to try to knock off here. If your steering wheel, I think I mentioned before, if it's really trashed and you had to go over it with the Colourlock brush quite 2 or 3 times to break all the garbage up to get it to get back to normal, you'll start developing some balls of material. So you want to go ahead and sand that down. And Alcantara is pretty resilient. A lot of people think it's a delicate fabric. It's really not. It's actually very durable. Otherwise, they wouldn't use it in situations like steering wheels where you're touching it all the time, especially whenever it's in a sports car. They wouldn't put it on racing seats or racing steering wheels. So first thing I recommend, taping it off. Just get yourself some masking tape. I don't care what it is. Doesn't really matter, and it doesn't have to be a perfect tape job, but you are looking to cover it up because you don't want to sand your plastics, and you will bump them even if you're paying attention. I thought I was good enough to say, oh, I'm gonna pay attention. Yeah, that didn't work, so tape that off. I'm just gonna do the upper part here. I'm not gonna do the lower. I'm just gonna show you the upper here. So this is mainly where my hands are, so this is gonna be the worst part. Let's get it close. If you want to throw a couple extra pieces, you know, masking tape's cheap. All right, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and sand. We're gonna be using the Colourlock leather sanding pad. What grit this could be, I don't know. I tried to figure that out. Didn't really matter to me. I went ahead and bought it. It's cheap enough, and these people know leather and Alcantara. So we're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna gently brush back and forth, real lightly. And any balls you see on your steering wheel, you'll see it knock right off. I even have some higher fibers it's taken off. And that's always nice. It really breaks up the Alcantara nicely. Gets all them high spots, getting it back to look factory fresh. And understand, if you do this, it may not be exactly as it was from the factory, but it is going to be as close as you're going to get without purchasing a new steering wheel or having your steering wheel rewrapped. I do believe this steering wheel is somewhere between $200 and $400 to replace. So for the price of, I don't know, 30 bucks in product, if I can bring it back to close, it's good enough for me. Oh yeah. And sometimes it may not come out perfect the first time you do it. So like I did this in June, and I wasn't too awfully thrilled with how it came out, but it looked way better, so I just left it. And now I'm doing it again here, and it's kind of actually taken what I didn't like about it the rest of the way off. Real light, and rub your hand over it, knock off all the garbage that might be laying on there, all the little balls. Get down here where I touch it all the time. The key to this is to go back and forth. Don't go circles or grab a hold of it and rub it around real hard. It's just a back and forth motion, just like this. Like my steering wheel didn't even look like it needed sanded. And I'll tell you what, it's actually it's actually doing something for this one, and this one isn't in bad shape now, because I've already done this once, but man, that feels nice and smooth again. Pile moves the way I want it to. You know, at some point you got to know when to say when. I don't like being aggressive with stuff. At some point you got to say, when am I going to trash this thing? I don't like taking too much. I'd rather leave a little bit of defect to it, just as long as it's in much better shape than it was. And this is in much better shape than it was.
Actually impressed. I didn't think that would do much for the steering wheel still, but boy, it looks much. I'm happy with that. So that's how I clean mine. Whenever you need to do a deep clean, like I did in this one when I first got it, and as you've seen, I just did it again here on the top. I just didn't have to do multiple passes this time. I just did one. Just now, the big thing is the care for it. So. Now that you did this and you got it all taken care of and the pile moves the way you want to and it looks good, now you can check out my other video on Alcantara maintaining and just a regular maintenance clean. It's called Maintaining Alcantara or Maintain Alcantara. I'll leave it link to it down in the description. Check that out. That would be your more normal way of doing it once you get it to this point again. And that would just be how you maintain it whenever you clean your interior. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I've shown you how to deep clean and sand your Alcantara steering wheel that you may have thought, man, I'm gonna have to replace this. This steering wheel here was in probably the worst shape I'd ever seen. And I was even surprised with the sanding I did today. It actually helped it even more. So hope this helps. Please hit the subscribe button if you found it helpful. Hit that like button. It helps the algorithm put this out to others that may be having the same issues as you with their Alcantara steering wheels. So please stay tuned and have a good day.